that are running late, and a lot of the agenda items that are on there are specific to one of the board conversations, and so we're gonna skip down and do item 5 once we get the meeting going, and then we'll go back to those orders, hoping that Commissioner Boyle and Commissioner Morgan will be here by then. So again, this is the Human Resources Committee meeting, calling it to order on Monday, October 17th at 11 a.m. The copy of the open meetings act is located on the wall on the to the entrance of the room. I would like to go around and have everybody introduce themselves and say what department they're from, and we'll start on the outside.
Matt Oberly, County Human Resources.
Denise Lickeye, Assessor Register of Deeds.
Carol Donnelly, Human Resources Department.
Marcia Carter, Retired Corrections.
Thor Shelby, Retired Corrections.
Thomas Larkin, Civil Service and Corrections.
Teresa Garrett, County Attorney's Office.
Roger Ojo's County Youth Center.
Michelle Winger, Corrections, ULA President.
Brian Perzak, Sheriff and President of OP2.
Craig Madsen, Retired Sheriff.
Jim McGuire, Sheriff.
John Ewing, Douglas County Treasurer.
Tim McHale, Human Resources.
Scott Stevens, Independent Consultant, Employee Benefits.
Mary Borgeson, County Board.
Patrick Bloomingdale, County Administrator.
Karen Butch, Human Resources. Kathy Adair, Employee Benefits, Human Resources.
Constance Meyerendorf, Douglas County Clerk's Office.
Chris Rogers, County Board.
Todd Bell, Local 554.
Marcus C. Martin, County Labor.
Joe Lorenz, County Finance Director.
Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Matt Lewis, FOP Lodge 8, Douglas County Corrections.
Well, welcome everyone. And again, we'll begin with item 5 and then have some discussion on that, and hope that Commissioner Boyle and Morgan appear here by the time we're done with this agenda item. So item 5, discussing allowing employees to select dental insurance separate from health insurance and vice versa. This was an issue that was brought to my attention, and after looking into it, there is a possibility for that to happen. We can do that. And I'll have Karen and Kathy talk about the possibility of maybe doing that at the first of the year rather than during this enrollment.
Yes, yeah, we can do that. It's Oracle's, the way we've done benefits in Oracle, we tied both plans together, so it required employees to choose the medical, whatever tier, as well as the dental. And there's a fast formula. And with everything else that was going on this year with change and the implementation with Blue Cross, the electronic filing, we're pretty much inundated to get that done this year. But if that's the plan and the desire, then we certainly can do that for 2018 enrollment, because then there'll be time to be able to do the testing and stuff. You can't just go in and make a change without doing a whole bunch of testing and make sure it doesn't break anything else and that everything works. So with this year, with the time frame, we're just not able to do it. But it's a possibility, and it's just a matter of the setup and having a little bit of time ahead of us to be able to do that. So if we want to do, if that's the desire, then for the enrollment for 2018, this next fall, a year from now, certainly we could do that.
There was some discussion that we could possibly do it at the first of the year for just those opting into the dental only. Is that still on the table?
I think that can be done. It would just require us to have a special enrollment period for individuals that want to enroll in dental. But it probably wouldn't, I mean, we have to get through the rest of this year and the ACA reporting for 2016. So it probably could be done if the board decides that that's what they would like to do. It probably could be done in the first quarter of 2017. But it would require a special enrollment. It would require us to go in and do some testing. And the cleanest way to do it would be to wait until the open enrollment in 2018. Because we may have individuals that would like to, I'm not sure how many, but it's possible you could have some individuals that would drop medical coverage because all they really wanted was a dental. but it's probably more likely that we would have more individuals enroll in dental because they don't have to take medical, which would have an impact on the claims in the medical plan, but it's all possible.
Any question? What we'd have to do is put a resolution on the board for us to, agree to this change.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions or comments on it? Questions or comments?
I might add just a couple things if the
Mhm.
board opts to do that, or if y'all have to do that. It's two things. The one, to look at the funding of that plan, fully
Mhm.
insured versus
Mhm.
self-funded, because in my experience, sometimes it makes sense to do one or the other almost from a year-to-year basis, depending on the utilization of the claims. And the other issue on an ongoing basis, again, is whether or not and how to do open enrollment because of the potential anti-selection inherent with dental versus medical. People sometimes, if given the option, will wait till they need it, then elect it, and then drop it.
Yeah,
Which,
that's
by the way,
usually-
is a big problem with the ACA exchanges. So, when you go fully insured, you might not make the decision that sometimes the carriers will say one way or the other. You're either going to have penalties for late enrollment, or we will let you do annual open enrollment.
Yeah, since it's currently a self-insured plan now as part of our medical plan, I don't know, whether or not we would look at going to a fully insured, but I would guess we probably would stay with it being self-insured for now. But adverse impact, you're right, that's a concern.
And then there's some tweaks, obviously, within the design. I don't want to get into minutia, but the
Mhm.
perio and endo, I mean, there's things you
Right.
can do to control that
Mhm.
utilization.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Please note Commissioner Commissioner Morgan.
Borges. It's my name.
Morgan and Kraft have
There's a bad
joined
accident
us.
at,
Oh, no.
just east of 42nd, about a half mile. I called right as you left the office. So they had 3 lanes blocked. It's blocked up to about a mile. I don't think there were injuries, but it blocked it. So I'm sorry for
No,
the
that's
delay.
fine. We're actually jumped down to item 5 because we were waiting for you and Commissioner Boyle. But we were discussing allowing employees to select dental insurance separate from their health insurance and vice versa. There was a request made. And so the issue is that employees have medical coverage through a spouse or some other means.
Right.
And aren't taking the county medical, but they would like to take the dental.
And they can just take dental.
Well, not now, not currently. So we are looking at the possibility of changing that up and allowing employees to take just the dental. But that wouldn't happen until next year.
Okay.
Okay?
Did anyone talk about the cost of that, roughly?
Well, we talked about the fact that it's really difficult, it'll probably be difficult for us to predict how many individuals might take the dental, but it would have an impact, obviously, on our medical reserve fund, because we would have more individuals involved in our dental plan and potentially more claims.
And a lot of individuals have asked maybe to get that?
This has been, I think, the last 3 years, there's been at least a request made to do this. And it was always the assumption that we couldn't do it, but then into further discussion with Aon individuals, it is doable that we can do it.
So that's just dental. Okay, so if your wife had medical, but you wanted to get your dental, then you can do it.
Like shoppers.
So we talking about next year, like next year enrollment, like 18 next year?
That would be our preference, because it would be cleaner to just make the changes as part of open enrollment. But as Commissioner Borgeson said, we've had a handful of requests from individuals.
What's a handful?
I've had just a couple.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we could do it
early.
early, or we could just wait until next year's open enrollment, which would make it a little bit cleaner. Commissioner Blau?
Apologize for being late, it's been one of those mornings. Excuse me. I wonder if there's anybody in the audience who wishes to speak to this?
I asked before you came in,
Oh,
but
did you?
nobody.
Okay. Hopefully I'll hold your peace. Is that-
Okay? So we'll work on a resolution to bring to the board at a future date here to make that change. Okay, going back to item 1. Oh, and please note Commissioner Boyle also joined us. Item 1, explore the changes to insurance plan design coverage to reduce the cost of the plan. And Commissioner Boyle, I'll let you start this since you're the one who asked that this be on.
Okay, well, I think, there are 2 ways that we can reduce the premiums to all of us. We're in the same plan as you are. We can either reduce the coverage, because maybe we have some coverage that's not being utilized or is really, really expensive that we shouldn't have. I'm thinking of, I think quite a few people took advantage of bariatric surgery. I don't know whether that should still be out there or not. I'm for it, but I just question that. We may have some services that are expensive that we really need to kind of get a very close look at to see if we can afford it. And if we did that, that would be one way, I think, to pull back on the amount of money that's needed to fund the program. The other thing is to do what we did do at the recommendation of our finance guy. And I really am concerned, when we said there'd be no change, the next thing we do is say, oh, there's also an increase in premium, which was unrelated. It's really a disaster that we didn't have the information when we talked to you, because it does sound pretty, well, it sounds like, in Donald Trump's words, that we were lying. Anyway, the other way to do it is to do what Joe recommended, and that is to take some of the money that we have in the fund and use that. Is it about $11 million in the fund? About $11 million, and I think we're going to contribute how much of the money?
2.5.
About $2.5 million?
Mm-hmm.
$2.5 million to drive down the premium. So those are really the only 2 things that we can do to try to bring down the premium. And that's what I wanted to kind of discuss, because I think we could probably, maybe this group has already reviewed the coverages. Yes.
Yeah, just to make a note that our $300 plan and our $600 PPO plan, they're both grandfathered. Basically, what that means is if you change any of the benefits to reduce benefits, then you lose your grandfather status, and if you lose your grandfather status, then all of the other things would cost. For instance, co-pays would accumulate rather than, to a certain dollar limit. There's some provisions that on preventive care that you have to pay for that we don't currently have to pay for. So all those.
You basically get into ACA.
Correct.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So then those provisions would apply then to both of these plans if you do any reduction of the benefits.
Okay, and there's no way that if all the parties agreed that could be avoided, is that right?
Yeah, no, because it's part of it's the ACA.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Does anyone have any other comments on that?